Do you struggle with your dog jumping up on you all the time? Then this video is for you. This is a very common problem that a lot of dog parents have to deal with. But today I'm going to teach you how to fix it. I actually have 2 methods that I'm going to show you today so that you can fix your dog's jumping problem. And at the end of this video, I'm going to give you the reason why dogs jump up on people. And spoiler alert, it's not what most people think. If you've watched some of my videos where I train Lisa, then you know that she's been going through a stage where she jumps and barks at me. And the method I chose to teach Lisa is what I like to call the tree method. And basically, you act like a tree. So whenever your dog jumps up on you, you turn completely still and look straight forward and give your dog 0 attention. And most of the time, your dog will lose interest and go off and do something else, and that's when you reward them when their 4 feet are on the floor. And you'll want to reward them by giving them a treat or playing a little game of tug-of-war with them so that they know that if they're on the ground, they get more attention than if they're jumping up on you. But if your dog doesn't get off of you and is starting to scratch you, you turn around and walk the other way. Give your dog a few minutes to calm down. And then return calmly, and if your dog keeps all 4 feet on the ground, then you reward with a treat or a game of tug. And a lot of people think that kneeing them in the chest is a good way to teach your dog not to jump. But this simply isn't true. It's just hurting the dog. And it's not a good idea because it gives your dog attention and it's hurting them. And if you're consistently acting like a tree whenever your dog jumps up on you, they'll eventually learn that good things happen when they have 4 feet on the ground. For this next method, you're going to need a clicker and a bag full of treats. And I'm going to sound really crazy right now, but you're going to teach your dog to jump up on you on cue. And the reason we want to teach your dog to jump on you on cue is because the behavior itself goes away unless you're asking your dog to do the specific cue when something is on cue, because they know that they're going to get a reward when you ask them. But if you don't ask them, then there's no reward involved. So I'll teach you how to do this method next. To start, you'll want to coax them up onto you and get all excited. Hey, May, get up here. Oh, good girl. And click and give them a treat. Get up here. Good girl. And just keep repeating this until your dog understands. Everyone! Good girl. Careful, don't choke. There you go. Good girl. Sometimes it helps to pat your hips. Other times it helps to get all excited. It just depends on your dog. Ellie Mae! Yay! Yay! And once your dog understands what you want from them, add your cue. And so my cue is give me a hug. So right before I see that she's gonna give me a hug or jump up onto me, then I'm gonna tell her, give me a hug, and then pat my hips and go crazy to get her to do it again. Ellie Mae! Give me a hug! Good girl! Ellie Mae! Give me a hug! Good girl! Give me a hug! Good girl! And keep practicing this until your dog understands what the cue means. And then you never have to say it again. They'll never do it again. Just keep it that way. And if you ever find that your dog does start jumping up on you again, just refresh their memory on what give me a hug means. And it is okay to let your dog hug you every once in a while, as long as it's on cue. So if you just want a hug from your dog, ask them for it. It's not going to be the end of the world. They'll still only do it when you ask them to. Ellie Mae, give me a hug. Good girl, I love you. If you have a really energetic dog or one that's a really rough lover, then I suggest giving them some light exercise before attempting this training session, because you don't want your dog scratching you up, because that hurts. Now, some dogs know not to jump up on you, but when guests come, all bets are off. They're just jumping all over, so excited, and they just can't contain themselves. And lots of people think that they need to have their guests teach the dog not to jump up on them, but that's not true. It's your job to train your dog. And so I'm going to go over how to teach your dog not to jump up on guests, because this can really hurt some guests, and some guests can't handle a dog jumping up on them because it will knock them over or it can really hurt them. And so this is very important to teach your dog. To start, you'll want to find incompatible behavior with jumping. This can be sitting or going to a mat. Let's say you want to teach your dog to go to the mat. To start, you want to teach your dog how to go to the mat and stay there for about a minute. I haven't made a video on this, but I am planning to soon, so keep an eye out for that video. Next, you want to introduce your dog to the mat in the entryway. Start by putting it in the place where you want your dog to be, like by the stairs or in the corner of the entryway. Wherever you choose is best for your dog. Teach them to go to their mat there and build up the time again. And then start by touching the doorknob while your dog's on the mat. Click and treat. Then, once they're comfortable with that, start turning the doorknob. Click and treat. Once they're comfortable with that, maybe open the door a little bit. Click and treat. Once you can get your door all the way open, it's time to start adding distractions. You'll need to hire a friend or a family member to help you with this next part. Have your friend stand on the other side of the door and knock once, just once. Click and give your dog a treat. Don't even open the door, don't worry about any of that. Just get your dog used to the sound of knocking. And when you hear that knock, ask your dog to go to the mat and give them a few seconds, click and treat. Then build it up to 2 or 3 knocks and make sure that your dog is comfortable with that next. And then you can go back through touching the doorknob, turning it, and then starting to open it after your friend knocks on the door. You see what we're doing here? We're teaching it in teeny tiny chunks so that your dog has a better understanding of the whole cue. And so eventually you'll get to where your dog hears the knock, goes to its mat, and sits or lies down while you open the door and invite the visitors in. And then eventually release your dog from the mat when he is in a more calm state of mind so that he can properly greet your guests. If your dog still jumps after he's released from the mat, it might be better to teach him to sit to greet people. And this is because dogs can't sit and jump at the same time. And so basically you go through the same steps with your dog as I explained for the go to mat option. Something a lot of people think when their dogs jump up on them is that, oh, he's trying to dominate me. I must be the alpha. But this is simply not true. And as I explained in my What to Teach Your 6 to 9 month old puppy, which I'll put a link in the description to that video below if you want to hear that, is that those are just all myths. And have you ever seen the look of love in your puppy's eyes when she jumps up to greet you? That's definitely not them trying to dominate you or anything. They're just trying to be nice. They are so excited to see you that they can't contain their excitement, and a lot of times dogs jump up on people to get closer to their faces so that they can say hi easier, because that's what they do when they say hi to their dog friends. And so they think of you as no different. This is simply them being sweet. So never punish your dog for jumping up on you. Instead, teach them what you want them to do instead of jumping up on you. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please subscribe and hit the bell so that you hear when new videos come out. I hope you have a wonderful day.